Hi, I'm Bruce, and I'm going to show you how I made this pallet wood bench, including some barn wood that's over 100 years old. I've had this pile of pallets for probably almost 3 years. I've used them for a few projects here and there, but it was time to get rid of more of them. If you've ever tried to break down pallets, it's quite frustrating. Regardless of the method that you choose, you're going to use a lot of effort. Some people like to use a crowbar, but I always get everything split apart when I try that. The best way that I've found is to use a reciprocating saw with a metal and wood blade on it, and I actually just run it parallel with the slats and cut the nails. Cut the nails off of, you've got just the head of the nail that's still embedded here. So what I do is I just take a nail punch, nail set, tap them in there a couple times, then you're able to turn them over and just grab the heads of those nails. Well, I used some 1/2-inch OSB that I had lying around to act as the substrate to put my pallet boards on. This is my jointing jig that I made a few years ago. It's got something so it rides in the miter slot, and it's a zero clearance, so I know wherever I put my board, it's going to cut at the edge of this board, and I just clamp it down and send it through so that it can clamp in place and push it through the table saw. Then all you have to do is turn the piece around and use the jointed edge that you just created against your table saw fence. Then you have a nice parallel piece. Most of my pieces were a very similar thickness, but there were a couple of them that were very thick, so I just sent them through the planer a few times to knock them down. I wanted to come up with some kind of a modern looking design, but one that I had not really seen done before. So I experimented and laid things out and came up with this kind of cool design where some of it had just perpendicular lines against one another, and then there were some 45-degree angles mixed in there. I really like how it came out. To clean up all of the edges, I used a combination of my circular saw and then my table saw sled for the crosscut sled, as well as the fence, just to make sure everything was nice and clean. I decided that the 42-inch span that the top of this thing had was not sturdy enough with just the OSB and the pallet wood nailed to it. If a couple of people were sitting on this bench, I didn't want it to sag. So I built a very sturdy frame out of one single 2x4. I just used pocket holes to put it together, and it greatly increased the strength of this thing. We were given some wood from my wife's grandparents not too long ago, and I just never knew what to use it for. It was really old. It came from their grandparents' land, so this wood is well over 100 years old. And as I went along, I found that I had a couple pieces that would work really well on this project. It was very warped, so it was hard to work with, but in the end I was able to use some pieces that had a lot of meaning to us from where they came from. I used this old barn wood as the skirt to go around the bench. I made sure to leave the pieces long enough that they would cover the 2x4 frame I had built, and I kind of left the live edge, or whatever the old edge was, toward the bottom to where it would be nice and flush at the top, but it would just kind of have a more organic look at the bottom. I used sawdust and a little bit of glue to fill the really large gaps. Cut my first set of strips at 2.5 inches. Now I've moved it over just enough to make up the difference of the thickness of this material, so that by the time I cut it and put it here and make an L-shaped leg, both of them measure to be 2.5. It just took a little bit of fine tuning because this is very irregular material, but I think I've got it dialed in. So now after I've cut the first 4 at 2.5, these are going to be slightly less than 2.5. It's actually about 5/8 less. And I'm going to rip all of those. I marked out an angle on the leg that I thought looked good because I wanted them to taper as they went to the ground. Then I cut out the angle on the bandsaw. I didn't worry too much about the marks that the bandsaw left because this was just a pallet wood piece anyway. I originally thought securing the legs to the apron pieces would be enough, but upon looking at it, it didn't look sturdy enough, so I put some pocket holes in each leg so that I could secure them to the 2x4 frame. Then I glued it in place. I still felt like I wanted some more security for these legs, so I marked out a spot on each corner that I was going to drill through and put through dowels. After trimming the first one flush, I really liked that I went with this design because I liked those pegs showing. I sanded as little as possible because I did not want to wear off the patina of this old wood. For finish, I just used some semi-gloss polyurethane. I did a couple of coats, and I really liked the way it turned out. I don't know where this copper color came from in the top, but as I sanded it a little bit, it kind of revealed that, and I love the way it looks. This bench will sit on our side porch. It is where most of our guests actually enter into the house when they come over, and it is where we can see the kids ride their bikes down the hill and into the cul-de-sac. Guess what? I messed up. I made this bench too tall. It was supposed to be about 18 inches tall from the ground to where the actual sitting surface is, which is like some of our other chairs. And by the time I had to add the extra support underneath the bench with the 2x4s, as well as the substrate and the pallet wood, this bench was closer to 21 inches from the ground to the sitting surface. It was just too tall. So I figured out a way that I could set the entire bench on my crosscut sled with a stop block so that I could run it across the table saw. On some of the legs it did not cut all the way through, so I just finished that with a handsaw. Turned out just fine. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please click that subscribe button below. That way you don't miss any of my future videos, and I will see you next time.